You know we had to talk about it. Recapping the drama and reviewing the chaos, one episode at a time. Let's get into it. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Reality Recap and Reviews. This is episode 15 of Love Island USA Season 8. So the episode opens up with the continuation of the dumping of Gabrielle and Soul. Soul has said her piece. She's happy that she's leaving because nobody gave her a chance outside of Sincere. And we all know what happened with that. He was lying to her the whole time. He wanted to have his cake and eat it too, right? So she tells them, listen, this is more of a couple's island than of Love Island. So then we get Gabrielle speaking his piece. He said, you know, he did what he was supposed to do. He came here to find love, but he also played the game, and that was to explore. You know, he no longer had Bia. He was paired with Jen, and he explored Jen. He played the game. So then Trinity starts to speak up, and she tries to make them understand the reasoning as to why they chose Gabrielle and not Caleb, right? So she says, listen, we felt that you were never going to be content on whoever came in here. Nobody here who was going to come in was ever going to satisfy you. In so many words, instead of just calling him a F-boy. You're not here for love. You're here to have sex. Let's be honest. So I guess Trinity wasn't making it clear enough, which I think she did. Melanie steps in, but then she says the same thing that Trinity says, which was weird. But she tells Gabrielle, like, listen, we love you, but this is what we felt like. And I'm going to be really honest with y'all. The reason why they chose Gabrielle to be dumped is all out of revenge on Bea. Bea left, and not even 24 hours later, he was sitting in the area by the ping pong table making out with Jen. And they was not feeling that. They was not feeling what he was doing to their girl. Let's be real here. They can sugarcoat it however they want it. That was an issue for them, specifically Trinity and Kayda, because they were closer to Bea than the rest of the girls. So when they were having this conversation, Sincere, the whole time they were sitting at the fire pit, Sincere was just talking underneath his breath, which to me is very, very immature. You do not have to say all of that. You could have just waited until you all decided to have like a conversation and then said your piece. You talking under your breath was very, very childish. But Zach comes in and Zach says, what chances did he have? He was coupled up with Bea. He lost Bea because of America's vote, and he was pushed into a couple with Jen, which in fact he explored, and he was still with Jen. So again, like, your reasonings to eliminate him makes absolutely no sense. So after that, or I should say in between that, when Melanie and Trinity were trying to explain their reasons, Souls interrupts, and she said, well, isn't this the point of Love Island, is to be open and to explore? Like, they feel like the women are twisting the point of the show, and they are. They are. Everybody wants to be locked down in a couple. That's not how that works. What's the point of the bombshells then? What's the point of them? There is none. And I can say this, you can throw this whole cast away. You can throw them away. They ruined those girls. And then, you know what? At the end of the day, the boys too. They ruined this season with not exploring, not being open. Like, how do you figure that you come on this show knowing the premise of the show, but then you don't want to do the premise of the show, but when somebody actually does it, you turn your nose up at them? That makes no sense. No sense at all. So Ariana lets everybody know, say your goodbyes to Soul and Gabrielle. They have 30 minutes to pack their shit and then they gotta go. So everybody gets up. Everybody gives, what's her name, a hug. She walks away. Everybody gives a hug to Gabrielle. And then he walks away and they pack their bags. Did you guys notice the girls did not follow Soul? And it was clear as day when she was upstairs only with Jen packing her bags. She said she was not shocked that she was chosen, but she was shocked that they chose Gabrielle. So as Gabrielle is in the dorm room packing his stuff, Jen pulls him for a chat. She apologized. She was shocked that they chose him. He said, listen, like, I came in here to find a connection. And he said, I played the game the way it was supposed to play. I was supposed to explore, and he has zero regrets. None whatsoever. Then we cut to KC pulling Soul for a really quick goodbye chat. He tells her, listen, this was a very hard decision, but it also was not personal. He felt like the other people had more of a connection and she didn't have a connection. She says you guys were not open. And again, it was really hard for her to even to explore any of them because everybody was closed off. KC feels really, really bad because she wasn't treated well in the villa, and he feels like he should have, I guess he should have pulled her. That's what his regret is. Okay. So after that, Gabrielle and Soul are towards the, the opening, the exit and entrance of the villa. And Soul says, listen, you guys need to get it together. You need to play the game the way it is played because there are more bombshells to come. And I hope you treat them then better than the way you treated me. Her and Gabrielle say their goodbyes and they walk out. The couples are pretty much, they didn't really give too many goodbyes. And if they did, they were more towards Gabrielle than to Soul. Those, for some reason, those girls just did not like Soul. I'm trying to figure out, are we missing something from the editing floor? Like, what did Soul do to these girls for them to not be as welcoming or as nice that they should have been? Right? So when they're about to turn around and walk back into the villa, Jen says, okay, so who's going to get my, breakfast order now that, Gabrielle is no longer in the villa? And Zach was like, y'all better be lucky y'all get any breakfast at all. Or you may not get any breakfast. And Kayda is feeling some sort of way. She looking at him like, what? And Trinity's like, listen, if y'all want to talk about it, we could talk about it. Let's not beat around this bush. Let's have this conversation. The boys go towards, I believe they went towards the fire pit. The girls sit on the couch and they're all having their discussions. They're letting Jen know, again, these are the reasons why we eliminated Gabrielle. And they felt like Caleb, after he was done wrong by Kenzie, that he deserved the second chance. The guys are over there and they're furious. They was furious. They was like, with that logic, Kenzie should have went home. If we were to go with their logic, Kenzie should have went home. Now, mind you, as they're saying this, Corbin is sitting there. And Corbin is soaking all of this in. Now, after all of this conversation, Corbin and Kenzie separates themselves and they go into soul ties. And she is upset about the whole situation. Corbin lets her know, he's like, listen, I want to let you know that you were definitely up to be eliminated. It was between you and Soul. They think that you just operate in lust and that you're not really here for the connection. She's like, I operate in lust? Yes, you do. You absolutely do operate in lust. Though in the beginning, the first week of the villa, your whole conversation was like, ooh, he makes me flutter. He makes me cream. I'm creaming right now. Ooh, I want him. All these nasty little words that you were saying to these girls in the villa about a stranger that you just met. That's why people say you operate in lust. You went from Sean to Corbin to Caleb back to Corbin. Mind you, not really getting to know any of these guys. You're only talking to Sean because both of you didn't have a couple and you wanted to make sure you didn't go anywhere. You messed with Corbin because there was no other option and you wanted to one up on Melanie because you saw how Melanie was really interested in him. Now production brought Caleb into the villa because that was your type, and they decided because you were the only one that didn't really have a connection with a guy to be in a real couple, they said, let's throw Caleb in there for you. And instead of you really truly getting to know Caleb, you were so into Corbin DJing you that you just disregarded him and you still just wanted to be in this lust relationship with Corbin. So yes, you do operate on lust. But let me tell you something. When I tell you she did not really care at the fact that they wanted to eliminate her, or she operates in lust, all she cared about was being in the bottom three. I can't believe I was in the bottom three. Yes. Let's think. Let's open your brain. Why are you in the bottom three, Kenzie? Because America doesn't like you. America wants you out. Let that sink in. Let's change your ways a little bit. She's not. She's not. She has an entitlement. She thinks because she's this white girl, this pretty little white girl, and she has this cute, hot mixed Blasian guy on her hand, and she's all bubbly that she's liked. But there are times where she forgot that she's on camera and let a lot of things slip. And that's why we're not feeling you, honey. I'm just saying. So after that, we get the guys and the girls coming together and they're having a discussion on why, who was eliminated. Trinity tells them like y'all are damn right dirty for selecting Sincere to let Soul know that she was eliminated. But that was it. No, none of the guys said anything further about her comment, and that makes me believe that it was production that told Sincere to say it. Because if production didn't put a hand in it, they would have just vocalized it. They would have told the reason why they did it. So that tells me for dramatic effects, they told Sincere to say who was eliminated. But the women again are reiterating, is that the word? Reiterating what they said earlier in the fire pit. They didn't think Gabrielle was really here for love. He was there for lust. So now we get the next day. And we get Bryce and Zach in the dorm. And Bryce asks Zach to see his member in his girth. And Zach was happily to look at his penis. When I tell you he pulled his drawers back to look at his penis, I don't know what's going on with these two. It's weird. I didn't think male friends do that. Male straight friends. I don't know. It's just weird. But then I think to myself too, women friends who are straight, we do certain things. Oh, girl, like my boobs, like, are they really, blah, 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 but we don't think anything of calling them lesbians. So should we think about that with Zach and Bryce? I don't know. To me, it's a little funny. I'm just saying, is it a double standard? Yes. I still just find it to be very weird, along with the other stuff that's been happening in the previous episodes. So now we get, what is this? Kenzie is talking to Aniyah at the docks, and Jen joins, but she's still hung up. This is Kenzie is still hung up and annoyed that she was in the bottom. I need this ditzy, fake ass blonde to open her brain for a second and understand why she was in the bottom. We don't like you. Stop talking about it. We don't like you. Or better yet, one of the girls tell her, maybe you're in the bottom because America finds you irritating, or something about you and Corbin they don't like. That's why they put you in the bottom. Ladies, maybe you want to mention that to her. Or better yet, Miss Nurse. I don't know what kind of nurse she is. I don't know if she's an LPN or RN. Maybe you should open up your mind and your thinking cap and figure out as to why you're on the bottom. I'm just saying. So now we get a conversation with Sincere and Caleb. Sincere wants to check on Caleb after last night. Caleb says, his mistake was to put all his eggs into Kenzie and not explore. And, Sincere agrees. He's like, listen, yeah, now that you have the second chance, now that you're still here, definitely open up, definitely speak to other people, and definitely explore, right? What else? Wow. So now we get another conversation with Zach and Bryce. Bryce is, before this, so next we get everybody in the kitchen, right? And they're talking about the top four couples. And KC makes a comment and says he definitely knew that him and Aniyah and him and Aniyah and Zach and Kayda were gonna be in the top two. And Bryce felt some sort of way about that. He was like, what do you mean? What about me and Trinity? Me and Trinity been here since day one. He's like, yeah, but day two, y'all decided y'all wanted to explore Bombshell. So yeah, y'all don't count. And Bryce, when I tell you Bryce is feeling some sort of way about that comment, I personally don't think it was that serious. That's Bright. That's Casey's views. Whoopity doo dah, zippity day. Nobody should care, right? So now we get Bryce and Zach having a conversation, and Bryce brings up what Casey said, and he's really upset. And Zach says, "Yeah, I was shocked that he said that. Like, I believe that Corbin and Kenzie have a stronger relationship than Casey and Aniyah." And I'm just like, how? How are they stronger? How are they stronger? Didn't y'all say in the fire pit that she operates in lust? How is their connection stronger than Casey's and Aniyah's? At least Casey and Aniyah know things about each other. Corbin and Kenzie know nothing about each other. Nothing. Y'all just want to throw that out there. And FYI, you guys talking about other people's couples, y'all look crazy. And let me tell you something, you're highly disliked by the American public. Keep it up. Keep it up. And y'all be walking out before the finale. Keep it up. Okay, so now we get the girls and they're like in a circle and they're kind of comparing each other how they were in high school. So as they're talking and comparing their high school experience, they get a text and it's for their next challenge and it's a fairy tale challenge. So let me break that down for y'all because it is a lot. Okay, it's a lot. So what it is the male islanders are the princes, and then the female islanders are the princesses. So the male islander comes in, they have to slay dragon eggs. Within the dragon egg is a question. They have to answer the question with one of the fellow male islanders that best describes the question or fits the question. So whoever they choose, there's a rotten apple that they have to burst on top of their head. That person who was chose, or that prince or islander who was chose for that question, then has to go to the princesses, the female islander, and they have to choose which they would decide for the original prince male islander. They are sitting in a chair on a throne. They are, I think they're blindfolded and they can't hear, right? And then the princess or the female islander has to choose whether they want to turn him into a frog or kiss him. And I can tell you a lot of the women did both or just kiss them. So first is up is Mr. Sincere. He slays the dragon eggs, and the question that he chooses, or I should say the question that he has is, who is not exploring? He chooses Zach. And then Zach decides to choose Aniyah to decide if she wants to turn him into a frog or kiss him. Aniyah chooses both, and she makes out with Sincere. After that, Sincere has to kiss the girl's feet and then decide who is his fair maiden. I'm going to tell you this. After last season, I feel like instead of Love Island being authentic and that's who they are, and be happy of the success of season 6 and 7, they took this season and they tried to replicate a lot. And I feel like the whole kiss and feet thing was to replicate what Nick did to Alandria. And the thing is that, first of all, the reason why Nick chose to suck on Alandria's toes was to let her know that he was still interested. Because remember, Tierra forbidden him to make out with any of the girls he was interested in during that challenge. So in order for him to, again, let Alandria know that he still liked her, he sucked on her toes. So for them to put that in a challenge was just weird. It was weird and honestly downright gross. I don't care what nobody says. So, Sincere has to kiss all the girls' feet and suck their toes, which he did, which to me was just disgusting. Like, you don't know them girls be washing their feet. Nothing. Lotioning their feet, nothing. Walking in dirty shoes, walking around the villa with no shoes on, like just diabolical and nasty. So after he chooses his fair maiden, obviously it was Melanie. Then the girls will have to move off the table and then the prince and the princess will make out. So next we got Corbin. And it says, who has the best looking girl? And they choose Zach. And Kayda's like, you know it, I'm the best looking. I'm like, girl, you are beautiful. But you're not the only beautiful girl in that villa. A lot of the girls are beautiful. So slow your roll, girl. Slow your roll. So after that, Zach chooses Melanie to kiss Corbin. And he was like, you know what? I want to be a little shady today. And I'm going to choose Melanie because remember, they were in a couple and they had a connection. What I liked about it was Sincere just took it on the chin. He didn't get upset and he just enjoyed the challenge. So after Melanie kisses Corbin, now needs to go suck on everybody's feet to choose his maiden. When I tell you Corbin was like, I ain't sucking no damn feet. He was like, not this, not over here. I ain't sucking nothing. I'll lick your leg, but you ain't gonna have no feet up in my mouth. So that's what he did. And then he chooses Kenzie and then they make out. And when I tell you, she's talking about she not in lust. Did y'all see how spread her legs was? That girl, cause y'all, listen, production always catch Kenzie doing all kinds of splits. So when she was on that little whatever that was, where the girls were sitting, that girl's legs was spread so motherfucking wide. She was ready for the insertion of Corbin. Do you hear me talking about she don't operate in lust? Girl, shut up. So next we get Bryce. And Bryce's question is, who's not the hero but the villain? And he chooses KC. Now, when he chooses KC, this is what he's saying. He says, hold on. He says that the reason why he chose KC to be the villain is because he always wanted to explore Soul, but then he kept that a secret so he wouldn't hurt Aniyah. I'm like, why did he bring that up? Why did he bring that up again? Soul is no longer in this motherfucking villa. When I tell you they panned to Aniyah and Aniyah's face was like, okay. And I was like, here we go again. Here we go again. We're gonna get the same motherfucking issues that she had with Casey prior to the recoupling. I'm just like, here we go again. And let me tell you something. Bryce and Zach are playing a dirty game and I'm tired of them. Bryce before was not playing Zach's game, but I'm noticing he's playing his game now and it's really irritating. It's freaking irritating. So after that, Casey picks Jen to make out with Bryce. And when I tell you Jen was shading the hell out of Bryce, she was like, oh, his kisses are terrible. He uses a lot of teeth. It is not in. It's not it. Excuse me. And I need to ask Trinity. Trinity girl, how are you kissing this man? Not only did Jen say that about him, but so did Kenzie, day one. Are you guiding how he's kissing? What's going on? I'm confused. Because he's downright not a good kisser. I'm very interested on how she continues to kiss when he's a bad kisser. Very, very curious. So then Bryce sucks on everybody's toes, and obviously he picks Trinity to make out, and then they make out. So now we have Caleb. And it says, who's under a love spell but not their real feelings? And he chooses Bryce, and Trinity was not happy. She's like, what you talking about? That there's no true feelings. Like, there's absolutely true feelings. So then after Bryce was picked, he chooses Kenzie to make out of Caleb. Another shady moment following what Zach did earlier with Corbin and Melanie. Okay. So after he does that, now, Caleb has to choose a girl that he has to kiss. Remember, Caleb is not in a couple. So who's he going to choose? He chooses Kenzie. When I tell you, excuse me, when I tell you Zach looked pissed, Zach's like, really, you going to choose her? Yes, he is. You know why? Because you didn't care that he pulled her. So why do you care that he's kissing her in a challenge? I know why. Because you don't want your spot threatened. You want to make sure that you're safe to go in the Casa more. That's why you were mad. You don't give a damn who she kisses. You just worry about, and you worried about a secure spot, please. So now we get Casey, and Casey's question is, who is a side character? He chooses Corbin. I was confused as to why he chose Corbin because I would have chose Bryce. I 100% would have chose Bryce. So after he chooses Corbin, Then Corbin takes Kayda and Kayda to kiss KC. After that, KC sucks on some toes, and then he chooses Aniyah, and then they make out. I believe, let's see, anybody else? So then after that, we lastly get Zach. And Zach's question is, who steals someone else's happily ever after? Which that doesn't make sense. He chooses Bryce. Trinity is chosen to kiss Zach. I don't know why Bryce chose Trinity to kiss Zach, but he did. They make out, and then he goes and he sucks some toes, and he chooses Kayda to make out, and that is the end of the game. So now everybody is back in the villa, and everybody is catching up with what happened in the challenge. The girls loved the challenge. They were happy that they didn't have to do much, and the guys took charge. The guys were annoyed because they had to suck on dirty toes. And I completely understand, because who the fuck wants to suck on anybody's toes? So now we get Kayda talking about her makeout session with Caleb. She was like, listen, I'm shocked that he chose to kiss me, but we all know that they have chemistry, because remember during the bed challenge, he was really making out with her when Zach was not feeling it. He was like, you know what? Hold that. Now that you're mad, I'm gonna make out some more with Kayda. And Kayda's like, don't worry about him. Like, let's go, baby. Let's kiss. Let's get it on. So she kind of knew there was something there, but she was just shocked that Caleb chose her. So now we get Bryce, and he's having the conversation about why he said what he said during the challenge, because again, you're gonna stir up the whole issue again between Aniyah and KC. And what I don't like is him and Zach are trying to create this narrative about KC of him being an unauthentic person, and I don't like that. I do not like that. They bring up the conversation they had last night during the dumping, and saying that he was the one that only voted for Soul, and he would say he was going to explore Soul. So what? He has every right if he decides that he wants to explore Soul. I don't understand what the fucking problem is. What is the problem? Are you shocked that he said that after what he went through for a couple of days with Aniyah? You didn't think maybe that what was going on with them tainted him a little bit, and he decides to say, you know what? Maybe this might not work out. I'm going to explore. What is the crime here? This man is not being dishonest to Aniyah. Why is everybody making it out to be like this man is sneaky? He's not sneaky at all. Why can't he decide personally, say, I'm not going to pursue this person, or decide to say in the beginning, I'm going to pursue this person? Yes, he said he was going to pursue Soul, but Soul went home. So why does he need to say anything to Aniyah? Why? We all know how she's going to react. It triggers her. And Zach and Bryce know that. That's why they did that. And especially after what Casey said about the top four. Bryce felt some sort of way about that. So he extracted his revenge on Casey by making Aniyah's insecurities heighten more. And that's just what it is. Now we get the nighttime, and we get Trinity and Bryce in the speakeasy, and they're talking about Casey and Aniyah. Bryce lets Trinity know that Casey was the only person to stick up for Soul and wanted to save Soul because he was going to explore her. I like how he just threw that out there like that and manipulated the situation like that. You know what I'm saying? And again, it's all because he said what he said in the kitchen. Also, during the conversation with Bryce and Trinity, he did mention what Casey said, and Trinity was feeling some sort of way about that. She was like, we've been together for the beginning. We had our up and downs, but we have been stronger than ever since day 2. I'm over all of this stuff that's surrounding Casey and Aniyah and him, quote unquote, wanting to explore Soul. She is no longer in the house. Why is it still a subject? And Trinity had the nerve to call Casey ignorant. How's he ignorant? How's he ignorant? Stop using words that don't have any context in this situation. How is he ignorant? Explain. I need an explanation. Because he's not ignorant in the situation. So now we get a conversation with Sincere and Caleb. Caleb talks about his interest in Kayda. And he's saying like she was one of the girls that he looked at when he first, entered the villa. But but obviously Kenzie was pushed on him. So that's where he pursued. And Caleb's like, listen, I mean, not Caleb, Sincere is like, listen, he's like, I think you should go for it. I think you should pull Kayda for a conversation. If Zach is mad, Zach is mad. Don't nobody give a damn what Zach feels. Zach don't even like Kayda. Can we be honest here? He don't even like that girl. So now we get Caleb and Kayda. We get Caleb and Caleb pulls Kayda, and I think they go into Say Less. I think they go into Say Less because as they're walking, Caleb tells her he's never been to Say Less. How you never been to Say Less? How you never been there? You've been in the villa for over a week. Even if you didn't go with anybody, I would have walked my ass over there and I would have sat there and enjoyed the breeze and just sat there by myself in my thoughts. Why you got to go in there with somebody? I don't know. Maybe I'm a very independent person. I don't need nobody to go explore something. Please. Please. I'd have had my ass up in there, arms out like, this is nice. This is real nice. I ain't got no roaches or nothing up in here. Like, this is nice. And again, enjoy the breeze. Because for some reason, every time somebody's in Say Less, this is very breezy. It really looks nice and breezy and beautiful. Like, baby, please. So as they're in Say Less and they're having a conversation, Caleb says, I've always, had an eye out for you since the initial challenge when I came in as a bombshell. And she's excited. She's like, listen, like, I'm shocked that, that you have interest in me. And she's like, hold on. Let me make sure I'm saying this right. Right. So so he tells her that, she's always caught his eye from the initial challenge. She's happy about it, but she also, kind of like, I guess, worried about Zach a little bit. But then the conversation goes on a little further and he says, what do you want in your future? And which I'm pretty shocked that she said this, because a lot of people who come on these shows, they want to be influencers. They don't want to go back to their 9 to 5. I think the only person that truly went back to their 9 to 5 was Elon. I don't think anybody else did. I think everybody now is like some sort of influencer. So she said, she wanted to get into business. She wanted specifically get in the business of helping people or animals. They talk about what animals they have. She says that she has a dog named Kaya and it's a pit bull. And then he said he has 3 dogs. He has a chocolate lab, and then the other two, I forgot what kind of dog that it is. But she asked him, before you pulled me, did you tell Zach? He's like, yeah, I told Zach in the dorm room. And she was shocked. She was like, oh, okay. She was like, but I'm glad that you pulled me. I'm glad that you let Zach know, but I think Zach is going to be jealous. Kayda, I'm gonna say this to you, and I need you to hear me. Hear me through the divine intervention in the air. Zach does not care that he pulled you. Zach only cares about his position because he wants to go to Casa more. Zach is bored with you. He no longer wants to be with you. I need you to think, baby girl, right before you gave him the buns, he asked you, would you be mad if he pulled a bombshell? Please don't ignore these flags. They're screaming to you in your face. He don't want you. He don't want you. Okay? So now we get Trinity and Aniyah. And this is where I side-eye Trinity. So Trinity sits with Aniyah and she tells Aniyah what Bryce told her. That during the dumping, KC was the only person to vote for Soul, and that he said that he wanted to explore Soul. Aniyah gets upset because she feels like she's being lied to. And I'm like, where is the lie? If Soul stayed in the villa, I think KC would have had the conversation with Aniyah. Soul's not in the villa. Why does he need to have this conversation about that? I'm confused. This is what I was saying in previous episodes. I don't like that Casey is having these conversations with Bryce and Zach because they are going to use what you're saying against them, against you, and create a division in your couple because they want to be able to be the top two, which is crazy to me because I know for a fact nobody is definitely not voting for Zach to win anything. And Bryce, you are coming up very quickly as to somebody not being voted. And Trinity is going to lose out on any type of winnings because of you. Because of you. So Aniyah talks about, her journey or her relationship with KC. She's like, listen, in the beginning, I didn't see it for KC, but as time went on, she really fell for him and she's really happy in her relationship with KC. And then she can honestly see her and KC outside the villa. So why, if you feel this way, why are you upset? Why are you upset? Because you were damn sure upset in the challenge. Why are you so upset? Like, I hope and I hope and I hope and I hope that we don't have the same conversation we had in the last couple of episodes. I hope that she just talks to him briefly about it and then squashes it. Please do not drag this conversation on anymore. Soul is no longer in this damn villa. And I have to be, and I said it before, I think because Aniyah and Casey were having these issues, these rifts, he was trying to let Aniyah know that she's his number one, but she was not understanding. I think, and reassuring her, Casey constantly reassuring her, I think Casey is getting tired of it. And I think Casey just wants to explore now. He still likes Aniyah, but I think he is going to look for somebody that he could be a little bit more connected with. And I think a little bit of a woman that's a little bit more secure than Aniyah. And I feel like maybe he thought that he could find that in Soul. Because Soul, at the end of the day, she was very mature, especially emotionally. And I think he liked that about her. Not only her looks, because remember, she looks like his ex, but I think he liked the matureness of her that Aniyah doesn't have. I'm just saying. So now we get Casey and Caleb. Hold on, let me make sure. So now we get Casey and Caleb. Caleb is asking Casey about his vibe with Aniyah. He said, since the challenge with the letters, that they've been good. You know what I mean? But he's also again open. So now we get Caleb and Casey having a conversation. Caleb is asking Casey, how you've been feeling, in your couple with Aniyah. He says, I feel good, especially after the letter challenge when we opened up to each other. Like, I feel like we are in a good place. But like I just said, how I felt about Casey and how I think he wants to be open. That is exactly what he said to Caleb. He says that he is open and ready to get to know other people. Aniyah, you might be in danger, girl. If they do not send somebody specifically for you in Casa Amor, I damn well say that your time is up in this villa. Your time is up in this villa. KC, I'm just reading my notes to make sure I got everything. Um, Hold on, let me redo that over. So now we get Aniyah and Trinity having a conversation. This is right after Trinity had a conversation with Bryce and Say Less. So Trinity comes to Aniyah and she's like, listen, this is something I need to tell you. She was like that KC was the only Soul vote to keep Soul in the house. And Aniyah is immediately annoyed. All the feelings that she had prior to the letter recoupling is starting to come up, and she doesn't quite understand why Casey is still lying to her, or pretty much why he's still lying to her. But it's just like, is he really lying to you though? Like, in order to lie to somebody, you have to like ask them something and then they answer with a lie. How is he lying to you? What conversation did you have after the love letter challenge where he's lying to you? Because I feel like if Soul stayed, he would have had the conversation with you saying, I'm going to explore Soul. But since Soul is no longer in the villa, why does he need to have this conversation with you? It's unwarranted. And the only reason why you know about this is because Zach, Bryce, and Trinity, and yes, I'm gonna include Trinity, they all being shady. Specifically Bryce and Zach. Bryce is still pissed at the fact that KC did not include him and Trinity in the top, or didn't think they were going to be in top. I don't think that little conversation or that little comment warranted all of this. And let me tell you something, because him and Zach are diabolical like that, they are not winning shit. Especially Zach. Zach, you're done. You've been done for over a week. Nobody's voting for you. We don't give a damn that you're Charlie's brother. We prefer Charlie over you anyway. We don't like how the way you move is dishonest. So you're not winning this game. And Bryce, you're not going to win either. And I feel bad for Trinity because everybody loves Trinity. But because Trinity is tied to you, she ain't going to win either. Thanks to you and adapting to this one's ways of being sneaky. Okay. So during the conversation with Trinity, Aniyah says, she understands that when her and KC when they initially got together, there really was no feelings. But as the days went on and they got to know each other, they really started to develop feelings for one another. And you could just clearly see Aniyah is trying, but it's not working. And her insecurities are just starting to fester up again about the whole thing. You guys, I'm so over it. So while Aniyah and Trinity are having a conversation, we get Caleb and we get KC. Caleb is checking on KC. He's like, how are you doing? How is your relationship with Aniyah? KC is like, oh, we're doing really well, especially after the letter recoupling and them expressing their feelings to one another. Then Caleb further goes in and says, well, if a bombshell came in, would you explore her? And Casey says, absolutely, I would explore her. And I think the reason why Casey has changed his mind and just says, I'm going to explore is all the issues that he's had with Aniyah and Aniyah not understanding his side. And like I said before, Aniyah likes to be the victim in the situation instead of just hearing Casey out on what was going on. And then even though him, Trinity, Kayda, Zach explain the reason as to why he did not decide to, explore Soul, she still sat in there and did not want to really accept what they were saying. Until actually Casey said something, and then she moved on to him not taking their conversation seriously. He sees the immaturity, he sees the insecurity in Aniyah, and he's tired of reassuring her, and he wants to see if there's better. I do believe that after a while, Casey, or I should say towards the end, Casey realized that maybe Soul was a better fit, and I'm not talking about look wise. I'm talking about emotional maturity wise, insecure wise. We all know Soul was very secure and confident in who she is, and was obviously that she was emotionally mature. And I think Casey found that to be attractive, but it was too late. Soul had to leave. And that's why he made the decision. If there's a bombshell that he finds that's interesting, he's going to pursue them. So as he's having this conversation, Trinity decides to drop the bombshell and say that Casey wanted to keep Soul. And Aniyah's face is pissed. We get Aniyah in her confessionals upset with KC because she says to the camera, he wants to play Captain Save a Hoe. Who is the hoe? Who is the hoe, Aniyah? Why are you calling this girl a hoe? What did she do that warranted that term to her? Was she explored Sincere and made Melanie cry? See, that wasn't Soul that did all those things. That was Sincere who did those things to to Melanie. And what she made that little comment right there confirmed how they were treating Soul in the villa. They were isolating that girl because they were threatened. Aniyah, you are dead ass wrong for calling that girl a hoe. And again, showed your insecurities and showed you're emotionally immature. That is where the episode ends. What were your thoughts? Y'all let me know down in the comment section. Subscribe if you'd like to see more. And I will see you guys in the next one. Finally, I am caught up, y'all. I am caught up before Sunday. Thank you. Y'all have a good one. See you in episode 16. Ooh, episode 17. Episode 16 is that other one. What is that? I'm supposed to end this video, but what is that other one? After Sun. After Sun is episode 16, so I'll see you guys in episode 17 because I do not watch After Sun. Toodles. That's your dose of drama for this week's reality report. The show may end, but the drama never. Catch you next time for more chaos, more tea, and more reality.